This is day 4. We're Thursday of Nathanael Has Thoughts and Prayers. And today I wanted to start with a theme song that eventually I want to learn, but I'll just play a recording of it. So here we go.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I have it a little bit faster.
Welcome to my show. Hopefully I'll
Share with you some things that I don't know. Welcome to my show.
Welcome to my friends. One day we'll learn the
Ways to cut our ties and make amends.
Welcome to your show. Welcome to our show. Hopefully in time you'll spend with me, we both will grow.
I have it at 1.75 speed, so I sound a little funnier.
Lend a helping hand to me and we can take it slow. Welcome to our show. Welcome to your show. Hopefully in time you'll spend with me,
We both will grow.
Welcome to my home. Welcome to your home. Lend a helping hand to me and
We can take it slow. Welcome to your show. That's my mom. That's my mom. All right. Well, welcome to Nathanael Has Thoughts and Prayers. This is day 4. Yesterday I fixed the ergonomic setup of all this stuff and tried to make everything work smoothly. And today, I'm feeling a little bit better about that. I woke up pretty late at 9:30 a.m., which is, I don't know, it's not that late, but I'm trying to do this every day at 11 a.m. And so to be able to sleep in and still be able to get to this place, this is day 4. Yesterday, I uploaded the first one on YouTube and Spotify and all that. And even see, look, I still feel a little uncomfortable. Got to get a new chair. The setup around me, you can see, I'm trying new things, trying different lighting. That's the fun part of all of this, is that I'm always figuring out new things to try, new ways to iterate, which comes from utter. We got 2 people on, not sure who's on the chat, but definitely if you're on the chat, type your name, I can see you. But yeah, we're doing this 5 days a week is the hope. I don't have a day job right now. I'm a substitute teacher by day and a crime fighter by night. That's right. I find kids who are cheating and I lock them behind bars. Rap bars. That's right. No. But yeah, I don't have a job right now. So I get to work on the studio. And so every day I'm sort of adding building blocks to my life back up. And when work starts up again, I'll add those building blocks back up to my life. So right now, this live show is sort of the main building block that I'm starting with. And this is getting me through writer's block, right? Doing this every single day is inspired by the Artist Way morning pages, which is a practice where you type stream of consciousness every single day. And you just say what's on your mind. Right? And you're supposed to not censor yourself, because that little voice in your head that censors you when you're trying to make art is going to inhibit you from just creating freely. Now, when you edit later, that is when you will start to censor yourself, right? But you got to get into that state of play and just letting things flow. And so that's what that is for me. And I started doing this with a little DJI. I have these handheld mics that you can plug into your phone. And so I was doing that, filming myself doing that. I did about 48 days, not in a row, but I started back in the Philippines. I started doing that. And now I'm back here and I'm doing it in a studio. And I was in the Philippines in about February, which was an amazing, life-changing trip because I found out my mom is a gangster. That's right. My mom comes from Cagayan, Philippines. She was first person in her province to go to the Philippine Science High School, the Bisay Science High School. I finally learned. I got a little phlegm in my throat. I finally learned how to do the Filipino accent. Everything is short. The people are short. The vowels are short. Their penis, their genital. Okay, I'm just kidding. Are short, but they have huge Filipino balls. Everybody in the Philippines has big balls and big boobs. No. But I learned how to do the accent finally, which is fun because you can't really be a successful Filipino comedian if you don't know how to make fun of your own people. If you don't know how to make fun of your own people, you cannot be a successful comedian. Okay, comedian is a female Filipino comedian. See, it's just using accents. If you come from a different country or have an accent, if you have an accent at all, it doesn't matter. See, people think accents are only for people from different countries, but you got the southern accent. You know, you got the accents are funny because the way people talk is funny, and you should make fun of the way everybody talks. And you know what I'm saying? Like, who cares if it's cultural appropriation? You know what I'm saying? Like, making fun of the way someone talks. Okay, that is the oldest thing in the books. Okay, everybody makes fun of people, and you cannot be funny unless you make fun of your people. You know what I'm saying? So you got to do that. Where was I though? So, I was sort of afraid to get back into stand up, for sure, and so I needed to start unleashing my inner censor. I needed to start getting myself to a place where I wasn't censoring myself. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know why I keep saying I don't really talk like that. You know what I'm saying? I needed to stop censoring myself, and so started recording myself and posting it on YouTube. And you know, I didn't really get that many views, and sometimes I don't even know who's watching it. You know, nothing more than like 30 views. But the whole idea is that if I put it out into the world, that I'm forced to just stand behind Baha'i. That's a religion. I'm forced to stand behind everything I say, even if I'm gonna regret it later. Now, in the morning pages, which most likely will be a book that we go over on this show, the morning pages is not supposed to be shared. It's supposed to be just for you. Now, I've done the morning pages many years, and I've also done the Artist Way many times in a row. Not necessarily every single exercise, but to go on stage and share jokes and to work out ideas on stage that are not fully formed, especially many comedians who work out their ideas on stage. Many times you need to be public, and you need to fail in public, and you need to say things that are offensive in public, and you might fail. And so I was really afraid to get back into that, especially after doing these one-man shows, which I had a lot of control over. I had control over the script. I could say what I want to or not, but stand-up is like, yo, there's people over there. Go make them laugh. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? No, you don't know what I'm saying. That's the thing about stand-up is like, you try an idea and you're like, you know what I'm saying? Or like, they're like, no, we don't know what you're saying. You look crazy. You look like a crazy person. Like, stand-up is going up there and being like, y'all think I'm crazy? And then if they laugh, they're like, you're not crazy. But if they don't laugh, they just stare at you and they don't tell you you're crazy. They just look at you and you're like, I'm crazy. And you feel it. And that's what comedy is, right? Because it's instant feedback. And like, the more sensitive I got in stand-up, the more I learned that you got to be able to gauge everything that's going on. You got to be able to see everything that's going on. You got to make eye contact with everybody, right? If there's someone way back in the room and they're just sitting there like looking at their phone, you got to start delivering your jokes at them. Because if they're feeling left out, then that energy, even just one person not feeling a part of this cohesive unit that is the audience, right? Which contributes to the authorship of this moment, right? Like, audience comes from audere, right? Latin, to hear. They're that which hears you. But if they're hearing you, but they're not listening, then they're not responding to you, then you cannot get a response, and you cannot respond. And you cannot react, and you cannot create something together, because that's what it is. They create something with you. Now, you know what I'm saying? I can't burp again. But that's the essence of stand-up. It's like you just have these bubbles coming up, right? And you just burp all over the audience. And that's an idea, that's a joke, that's a tag, that's a like something that just is like coming out of you. You're like, yo, this is a weird thing that I was thinking about, but I think that it will relieve some tension. You know what I'm saying? Like I have these gas bubbles coming out of me that if they come out in the right way, it'll be funny. It'll allow you to release it too. And so, oh man, like I need a better ergonomic setup. Like these, I sort of fixed everything around. You can't see exactly, you can see everything behind me, but you can't see like all the stuff like in this control panel of a studio that I'm in. And so that's gonna take time to like tweak. But being but being tall is hard. Unless you're in the Philippines and everyone's like, yo, you playing the PBA, the Filipino basketball. So you play basketball. Take my daughter as your wife. You're so rich and tall. You have big Filipino. Okay, so that makes me laugh. So I need to fix up this setup. But you know what? We're making changes as we go. We're making changes to the socials, to the framing, to the website, to the everything, the distribution, the packaging, the marketing, of the size of the big Filipino balls, the templatization of these pieces of consciousness. That's kind of what, you know, like there's many missions with this, but becoming a better man by telling a better story, learning to tell a better story. That's one of the goals of these things. And so everything around this is around storytelling, learning to tell a better story. But when you're telling the honest truth of your life is the story. So you cannot tell a better story unless you become a better person who is living that story. And the narratives that you explore, the narratives you think your life have been built upon, sometimes do not have the foundational integrity to support a full heroic character arc. We're on the hero's journey. That's what we're doing. And so I'm trying to learn that, right? Even in these shares right now, it's like I'm starting with about a 15-minute monologue, because that's generally like how long the Artist's Way morning pages would take me. You're supposed to write 3 pages of stream of consciousness, and that would generally take me about 15 minutes. Sometimes I would just scribble it out because it's like nobody's reading this, right? And so sometimes these words are just gonna jangle about into pure rambling, incoherent nonsense, because I'm like, who is watching this? And then eventually people will be like, yo, I'm watching it. And I'm like, I don't care that you're watching it. I'm still gonna burp in your face because it's funny to me and it sets me free. So I hope it sets you free, you know? That's the idea. Because if I can speak freely on this, maybe you can too. People are so afraid. People are so afraid of what they're gonna say to other people, right? And I'm not afraid of that anymore. Right? I'm afraid of what I might do to people. No, I'm just kidding. See, like I want to say like wild stuff like that. I want to be on stage and just be free to do whatever, because I got serious on stage and I started playing sad songs, and then people are crying, and then I'm like, I can't be funny. And then I started being funny again. I'm like, I can't be serious. And it's like, what? Who made this up? Me. Who made up, you know, you label something, that's comedy, that's poetry, that's this. It's like, yeah, that's to you. But to me, I'm just talking, right? Who called me a comedian? Well, not me. I didn't believe I was people would tell me you're a comedian for many, many years before I even accepted it. And then I'm going to film this thing and, oh, that's not comedy, that's this, whatever. Who cares? Who freaking cares? We're just talking here. We're just hanging out here. We're just chatting here. That's what I'm trying to do, okay? Trying not to worry about what people are going to think, because they're going to think what they think. But at the end of the day, people are going to think what they think. People are going to think what they think. But at the end of the day, who's thanking you? Okay. That's how I want to end this segment. People are gonna think what they want to think, but at the end of the day, who's thanking you? If they ain't thanking you, then who gives a thun what they think? Because they don't. Okay, I'm sorry. This is making me laugh. But we got to move on to the next segment, which is called Flippin' Failures. Here's the theme song. We're flipping failures. We hit it out of the park. We making major moves. Come out of the dark. Peel back the layers. We may be missing the mark, but we got flavor. Hashem be our savior. We're flipping failures. We turn a wayward son back to his maker. Yo, we blow up the farts. We're to the mayor. We turn a bass on the Karen. We taking takers. Come make us care. Man, I'm going to get this song down one day. We're going to record it in this studio, live from the studio. Well, this is Flippin' Failures, and as always, we start off with My Utmost for His Highest by Oswald Chambers. The Kobe Mamba mentality of being a Christian. This guy is convicting as, not as heck, as heaven. He's convicting as heaven. Woe to me, I cried. Oh, the concentration of personal sin. This is definitely like a tough one. Woe to me, I cried. I'm ruined, for I'm a man of unclean lips. This is Isaiah. When the Lord appeared to Isaiah in a vision, Isaiah was convicted by a sense of his sinfulness. His conviction wasn't vague or indefinite. The Lord revealed to Isaiah the exact nature of his sin, showing him that he was a man of unclean lips. Man, I've been a man of unclean lips. Sure sign that I'm in the presence of God is this lack of vagueness about sin. I realize I'm not a sinner, not in the general. I'm a sinner in the general, not in a general sense, sorry, but in a particular sense. Understand there's a concentration of sin in a specific area of my life. It's easy to say, oh yes, I know I'm a sinner, but I can't get away with a vague statement like this when I am with God. What we say is very important, right? And God is giving him something to say, and he's saying, I'm of unclean lips. Something I've been thinking about it with all of this is that part of this exercise in purging myself of just like what I'm thinking, is that reading directs your thoughts, right? I'm still maintaining this principle of saying everything that's coming to my mind, and yet when I'm reading, I'm gonna think about what I'm reading. And so that's all the more reason to read edifying things such as the Bible or Oswald Chambers. Everyone from the greatest and the least of saints to the greatest and least of sinners experiences this awareness of the concentration of sin when they come into God's presence. When we are on the first rung of the ladder of spiritual experience, we may not know exactly where we've gone wrong. The Spirit of God will show us. He'll point out a definite sin, fixing our minds upon it as he fixed Isaiah's mind upon his unclean lips. If we will yield to his conviction on this point, he will take us to a deeper level of conviction, leading us all the way down to the great disposition of sin that lies underneath. Once we've been convicted of our sin, God will purify us of it, sending his cleansing fire to the precise place the sin is concentrated. He touched my mouth and said, see, this has touched your lips. Your guilt is taken away and your sin atoned for. This is always the way God deals with us when we are consciously in his presence. Wow. He touched my mouth and said, see, this has touched your lips. Your guilt is taken away. Even the touch of the Lord on high allows us to be cleansed, our guilt taken away and our sin atoned for. This is always the way God deals with us. Heavenly Father, come into this house, come into this show, come into my lips. I don't know if that sounds wrong. Cleanse my guilt and atone for my sin. Thank you for atoning for my sins. I want to be consciously in your presence. I'm thinking about how part of this practice was standing outside in public, just speaking my mind, letting people walk by, and just inviting the presence of God into that place. So I think that at some point, I got to do this outside again, right? It might not be live on stream. Well, I don't know. I might be able to figure out how to do that through my phone, you know. But the point is that, yeah, I'd like to get back to that spirit, right, of doing it in that way. So we're reading Letters to a Young Poet. We're already on letter 4. There's about 10 letters, I think. And so yesterday, Warp Swede, that's a fast Swedish person, a Warp Swede, near Bremen, July 16th, 1903. Some 10 days ago, I left Paris. I need some water. Quite ill and tired, and journeyed into a great northerly plain, whose breadth and stillness and sky are to make me well again. But I came into a long spell of rain that today for the first time shows clear signs of clearing a little over the restlessly wind-blown land, and I'm using this first moment of brightness to greet you, dear sir. Very dear Mr. Capus, I've left a letter from you, long unanswered. Not that I had forgotten it. On the contrary, it was of the sort that one reads again when one finds them among one's correspondence, and I recognized you in it as though you had been close at hand. It was the letter of May 2nd, and you surely remember it. When I read it as of now, in the great quiet of these distances, I'm touched by your beautiful concern about life, more even than I had felt it in Paris, where everything resounds and dies away differently because of the too great noise that makes things vibrate. Paris, if you've ever been, it's a very robust and immense city. Here where an immense country lies about me, over which the winds pass coming from the seas, here I feel that no human being anywhere can answer for you those questions and feelings that deep within them have a life of their own. This is great, because so much of what I'm doing on this and what I'm doing with writing is answering a question. What is that question that you need an answer to, and how are you going to search for that answer deep within the depths of your soul? That's what writing is. For even the best errand words, when they are meant to mean most delicate and almost inexpressible things. But I believe, nevertheless, that you will not have to remain without a solution if you will hold to objects that are similar to those from which my eyes now draw refreshment. If you will cling to nature, to the simplest in nature, to the little things that hardly anyone sees, and that can so unexpectedly become big and beyond measuring. If you have this love of inconsiderable things and seek quite simply as one who serves, you must serve, worship, to win the confidence of what seems poor, then everything will become easier, more coherent, and somehow more conciliatory for you, not in your intellect, perhaps, which lags marveling behind, but in your inmost consciousness, waking and cognizance. You're so young. So before all beginning, and I want to beg you as much as I can, right, and that's in the text, he burps, dear sir, to be patient toward all that is unsolved in your heart, and to try to love the questions themselves like locked rooms and like books that are written in a very foreign tongue. Do not now seek the answers which cannot be given to you, because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. Ooh, live the questions now. Live the questions now. Ooh, perhaps you will then gradually, without noticing it, live along some distant day. Live into the answer. Live the questions into answers. Oh, as a bar. Live the questions into answer. Perhaps you will then gradually, perhaps you do, carry within yourself the possibility of shaping and forming as a particularly happy and pure way of living. Train yourself to it, but take whatever comes with great trust, and if only it comes out of your own will, out of some need of your inmost being, your utmost for his highest, with your innermost being, take it upon yourself and hate nothing. Jesus says, hate you must follow him. So I don't know how he's using this word hate in this way. Sex is difficult. Yes. Wow. That makes you laugh. After all of that, live the questions into answers, and one day you may stumble along in the dark. Your innermost being may testify to the beauty and sex is hard. Yes. But they are difficult things with which we have been charged. Almost everything serious is difficult, and everything is serious. Man, this guy has a way with wisdom. Almost everything serious is difficult, and everything is serious. Oh my God. Oh my God. So it's not necessarily going to be difficult because not everything serious is difficult, but everything is serious, which means almost everything is difficult. That's so funny. That's great. That's great. That's great. That's great. If you only recognize this and manage out of yourself, out of your own nature and ways, out of your own experience in childhood and strength to achieve a relation to sex, wholly your own, not influenced by convention and custom, then you will no longer be afraid of losing yourself and becoming unworthy of your best possession. Physical pleasure is a sensual pleasure, no different from pure seeing or the pure sensation with which a fine fruit filled. Yet it is very true. It is a great unending experience which has given us a knowing of the world, the fullness and the glory of all knowing, and not our acceptance of it is bad. The bad thing is that most people misuse and squander this experience and apply it as a stimulant, yeah, true, at the tired spots of their lives and as distraction instead of rallying towards exalted moments. That's right. Men have made even eating into something else. Want, on the other one hand, superfluidity usually, right? No, superfluidity. Yeah, superfluousness. Superfluidity, that's a different thing. Have dimmed the distinctness of this need. And all the deep, simple necessities in which life renews itself have become similarly dulled. But the individual can clarify them for himself and live them clearly. And if not the individual who is too dependent, then at least the solitary man. He can remember that all beauty in animals and plants is a quiet, enduring form of love and longing, and he can see animals as he sees plants, patiently and willingly, uniting and increasing and growing, not out of physical delight, not out of physical suffering, but bowing to necessities that are greater than pleasure and pain and more powerful than will and withstanding. Oh, that man, this is a long letter, that man might take a secret of which the world is full, even to its littlest things, more humbly to himself and bear it, endure it more seriously, and feel how terribly difficult it is instead of taking it lightly. That he might be more reverent toward his fruitfulness, which is but one. Whether it seems mental or physical, for intellectual creation too springs from the physical, is of one nature with it, and only like a gentler, more ecstatic, and more everlasting repetition of physical. The intellectual is an ecstatic and everlasting repetition of physical delight. The thought of being creator, of procreating, of making is nothing without its continuous great confirmation and realization in the world. Nothing without the thousandfold concordance from things and animals, and enjoyment of it is so indescribably beautiful and rich only because it is so full of inherited memories of the beginning and the bearing of milk. Everything is layered upon itself, and you need to see confirmation out in the world for the concordance of beauty. That's just like, ooh, chills. In one creative thought, 1,000 forgotten nights of love revive, filling it with sublimity and exaltation. And those who come together in the night and are entwined into rocking delight do an earnest work and gather sweetness. Gather depth and strength to the song of the some coming poet who will arise to speak of ecstasies beyond telling, and they call up the future. And though they err and embrace blindly, the future comes all the same. A new human being rises up, and on the ground of that chance which here seems consummated, wakes the law by which a resistant, vigorous seed forces its way through to the egg cell that moves upon toward. I love this. You know what I'm realizing is that he probably didn't write this in English, and so it's just like so rich. And so whoever translated this also has a depth of soul that I would love to understand. Do not be bewildered by the surfaces. In the depths all becomes law. And those who live the secret wrong and badly, and there are very many, lose it only for themselves and still hand it on like a sealed letter without knowing it. Do not be confused by the multiplicity of names and the complexity of cases. Perhaps all there is a great motherhood as common longing. The beauty of the Virgin, a being that, as so beautiful you say, has not yet achieved anything, is motherhood, that begins to sense itself and to prepare anxious and yearning. And the mother's beauty is ministering motherhood. And in the old woman there is a great remembering. And even in the man there is motherhood. It seems to me physical and spiritual. His procreating is also a kind of giving birth. A giving birth it is when he creates out of inmost fullness. We must create out of fullness. Yes. And perhaps the sexes are more related than we think, and the great renewal of the world will perhaps consist in this, that man, and made free of all false feelings and reluctances, will seek each other not as opposites, but as brother and sister, as neighbors, and will come together as human beings in order simply, seriously, and patiently to bear in common the difficult sex that has been laid upon them. But everything that may someday be possible to many the solitary man can now prepare and build with his hands ere less. Therefore, dear sir, love your solitude and bear with sweet sounding lamentation the suffering it causes you. This is very much something that I have been learning. For those who are near you are far, you say, and that shows it is beginning to grow wide about you, and then what is near you is far. And your distance is already among the stars and very large. Rejoice in your growth, in which you naturally can take. No, you cannot take anyone with you in your own growth. Take that in, and be kind to those who remain behind. And be sure and calm before them. And do not torment them with your doubts, and do not frighten them with your confidence or joy, which they could not understand. Seek yourself some sort of simple and loyal community with them, which need not necessarily change as you yourself become different. And again, different, love in them life in an unfamiliar form, and be considerate of aging people who fear that being alone in which you trust. Avoid contributing material to the drama that is always stretched taut between parents and children. It uses much of the children's energy and consumes the love of the elders, which is effective in warming, even if it does not comprehend. Ask no advice from them and count upon no understanding, but believe in a love that is being stored up for you like an inheritance, and trust that in this love there is a strength and blessing up beyond which you do not have to step in order to go very far. It is good that you're presently entering a profession that will make you independent and set you entirely on your own in every sense. Wait patiently to find out whether your inner life feels cramped by the form of this profession. I consider it very difficult and very exacting, as it is burdened with great conventions and scarcely leaves room for a personal conception of its problems, but your solitude will be a hold and home for you even amid very unfamiliar conditions, and from there you'll find all your ways. All my wishes are ready to accompany you, and my confidence is with you. Letter 5 tomorrow. Now, I'm reminded of this quote that I'm going to try and find it right now. All of man's problems stem from his inability to sit quietly in a room. Alone solitude is very important. If you ain't meditating or praying, you got to try it, at least. It's a very important skill. Well, today we are on to daily piece of purpose. What's one thought keeping you going today? We got the theme song. Sometimes we feel we're drowning. That doesn't mean that we are out of breath. Sometimes we feel we're dying. That doesn't mean that we are close to death. So I know that you're just trying. Sometimes my voice is barely but a gasp. I know that you're not lying. Sometimes the truth that feels so out of grasp. I know that I am not there, but if I was, I'd say to you, break me down, break me through to the other side of you. Give us strength, give us truth. I wanna feel like I'm brand new. Break us down, break us through to the other side of you. This is the daily piece of purpose. Now I gotta get that thing online very soon, but I want to get that I would love to get that song recorded for you all. Anyways, today's daily piece of purpose. Yesterday we had. They say sometimes you got to take 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but hey, that's progress. Now, I'm pretty sure that's dancing. Sometimes you got to take 1 step back and leave the dance hall completely because you don't really feel like dancing. You just want to take a nap, and that's okay. Sometimes you got to take a step back and shoot a 3 like Steph Curry. I've been doing little paintings of it these days. Let's move this out of the way. All right. Sometimes you got to take a step back, like Steph. This looks like crap. That's okay. I'm eventually every day I'm gonna take the daily piece of purpose and try to do something. I need better lighting. If I have better lighting, then this will look better. Still not a great painting, but that's okay. It's crude. It's bad. Just like me. I'm a work in progress. But that was yesterday's. Today's daily piece of purpose is maybe I should give up and become a teacher. That's a thought. That is a thought that I sincerely had at one moment in time. Maybe I should give up and become a teacher. And it's keeping me going today because right now I'm spending this time learning. That's really what I'm spending this time doing is I'm learning. I'm learning about what makes the ability to do this show, what's going on May. Today's thought, daily piece of purpose, is maybe I should give up and become a teacher. And that was a thought that I had that actually really jarred me at one point, because let me play this stand-up clip real quick so you can see what I'm speaking about real quick.
I sincerely had this thought. I had the thought I should give up and become a teacher. That's an insane thought to have. I should give up and then tell other people what to do.
Yep, real thought I had.
That a lot of teachers that you have had that thought. I should give up and then tell other people. Here's a hot take. You should have to like your life before you teach anyone anything at all. What about that? Because I had my favorite teachers. They're authentic, they're passionate, they care. I don't remember what they taught me. I had this one.
Let's go back to this bit. Let's go back to this bit after this, because there's a quote that I want to share with you. Maybe I should give up and become a teacher, but here's the question. I think you should have to like your life before you teach anyone anything at all, right? But what if the way to start to like your life is begin to teach the things that you do know? What if the way, right? You should have to like your life before teaching anyone anything at all. But what if the way to like your life is to start teaching what you do know by learning with others what you don't know together? And that's something that sort of right now I'm exploring, because, you know, I'm sitting here going through Letters to a Young Poet, processing my thoughts, trying to figure out these pieces of daily purpose and trying to conceptualize and make sense and meaning of everything. And yet this is what a teacher does. And I've already learned a little bit from you know, Letters to a Young Poet. This is like my 5th time through the book, so I can teach a little bit about it. I've implemented some of that stuff into my life, right? And as I get comfortable producing this podcast or doing different things, there's going to be different skills and different things that I'm going to be able to teach others. And so you should have to like your life before teaching anyone anything at all. I do stand by that. You cannot hate your life. You can, you must be a poet enough to call forth life's riches, right? That's what Rilke said. But there's this quote from Maya Angelou, which I'll share with you further, that was incorrectly attributed to her, which is super hilarious. Because the quote is, people will forget what you said, people forget what you did, but people never forget 9/11. And Maya Angelou said that. No, that's not what she said. Okay, sorry. I had to say that. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. That is true. Now, you should have to like your life before you teach anyone anything at all, because people will never forget how you made them feel. So let me play this bit, continue it on real quick.
Did you guys know that you could be happy?
Oh, sorry, I went back. Where is this?
Ideal, smart.
Where is
I
this?
sincerely had this thought. What to do? A lot of teachers that you have had that hot take. You should have to like your life before you teach anyone anything at all. What about that? Because I my favorite teachers, they're authentic, they're passionate, they care. I don't remember what they taught me. I had this one 7th grade English teacher.
Mr. Hanks.
At the end of every class, if we were well behaved.
Shout out to Mr. Hanks.
At the end of every Simon Says game, he'd go, Simon Says don't smile.
This is true, this is true.
And he makes silly faces like, that guy was my English teacher. I still don't know how to read, you know? But I know how to smile and follow directions. And that's how I got into UCLA.
Where's this joke? Yeah.
People will forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. Does anyone know who said that?
Maya Angelou.
Yeah, I always forget, but I always forget who said that quote, but I do remember having sex with them because it felt great.
Okay. So what's crazy about this is that Maya Angelou never actually said that quote. It's widely attributed to Maya Angelou, the quote, but so the person that really said it, the first earliest known source was by a Carl W. Buechner, a high-level official in the Mormon church. That's right, a Mormon said that joke, that line. And it just kept appearing, and then somehow in 2003, it misattributed it to Maya Angelou, which is so funny because people forget how you made them feel, and they'll forget what you said and what you did. But so like this quote, what stayed was how Carl Buechner, whatever, this high level official in the Mormon church, he said it, and everybody, right? Everybody only remembered how it made them feel, and they wanted to feel that from Maya Angelou. They wanted her to feel they wanted to attribute that feeling to Maya Angelou. That's so funny to me. Like, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people never forget you made them feel. Why am I thinking about never forget 9/11? Like, geez, that's where my mind is going. I'm brainstorming how to call back all this stuff on stage, but I have a story, which is I reunited with a friend from high school. Long story short, I was on the baseball team with him, and someone from the team pinned me down to the bleachers, and the other guy stuck his hand down his pants and pulled out a pube and stuck it in my mouth. Now, he said he didn't actually do that. He probably didn't. What's crazy about this is he doesn't even remember doing it. But I never forgot how it made me feel. Now I had to work through that and get to a place of forgiveness. And I've forgiven him. I didn't even bring up that story for like 6 years in therapy. And finally, when I brought it up, the person was like, yo, no wonder. I didn't bring it up for 6 years, and then I brought it up in therapy, and they're like, no wonder you feel this way. What's crazy is, man, this dude has been struggling to stay afloat as I've finally found the life raft and began to build a little ship for myself so that I can cruise the seas and try and get back into this game called life and discover things for myself. But he's been looking for a life raft, and now I'm in a position to maybe throw a life raft. And so people will forget what you said, people forget what you did, but people never forget how you made them feel. What if the way to like your life is to start teaching what you do know by learning with others what you don't know together, right? Maybe I should give up and become a teacher. To give up We got to surrender. We got to give up. We got to give up and become a teacher. I've been giving up. My life recently has been a series of just like giving ups. Giving up pornography, giving up lust, giving up relationships that aren't serving, giving up my unwillingness to embrace solitude and loneliness, giving up my dreams, giving up my understanding of what my life should or shouldn't be. Man, I'm a substitute at the old high school that I was a genius kid at. I had a 4.67 or something like that, or 6.2, whatever. It doesn't matter. I was a little genius boy, okay? Lil Genius. Lil Genius, okay? That's my rap name, Lil Genius, okay? By hook or by crook, yo, we quoting all these books. Yo, I got flows up the wazoo. Don't play me like a kazoo. That was I was a rapper in high school, and I was the most popular rapper of all time at that high school. No, that's not the joke, but okay. I'm a substitute at the old school that I was a good student at. And now I'm back there like, yo, I was a genius. I'm probably the smartest kid in this entire school, that in the history of it, except maybe one other person. And right now, I'm not even your real teacher. I'm substituting you because I gave up. 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 Now, giving up, coming back home, doing this is the surest way to get to my future. My friend, he said he feels like he's been stuck. He's been stuck at 19 when he feels like he messed up his life. I told him, like, life is like a maze of doors and they all open from the side you're on. Keep on going, try as you may. You're going to wind up where you started from. That's Cat Stevens. Life is like a maze of doors and they all open from the side you're on. Keep on pushing. Hard boy, try as you may. You're going to wind up where you started. You know, Cat Stevens didn't even say that. Quote, it was Maya Angelou. And they misattributed it to him. Okay. Of course you knew I was going to say that. You always get to come back. You always get to come back and try again, no matter how old you are, because meaning is layered upon itself. Our life is layered upon these experiences, and so we think we're going back, but we're going forward. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You got to take a step back, like Steph Curry. That was yesterday's daily piece of purpose, but sometimes it feels like you're going backwards because you're going back to the start. But in reality, you're going through a door that you previously thought was closed. You had choices to make, and you picked one, and you went through that door, and you saw where it led, and you took it all the way back to your old high school. And now you're walking back through your high school doors. But guess what? You're a giant 6 foot tall 30-year-old man that can't take no crap from any 13-year-olds. That's right. If you try to fight me as a sub, I will beat you. No, but you're coming as a different person. I'm not afraid of anybody at high school anymore. I'm not afraid of anything at this high school. Now, I'm afraid of stuff, but it's wild, wild, wild out there. I'm afraid of stuff that these high schoolers don't even know is coming. And so, I've given up to become a teacher by beginning to learn. You should have to like your life before teaching anything at all. But what if the way to like your life is to start teaching what you do know by learning with others what you don't know together, and facing what you're afraid of by going back through what stopped you from trying in the first place? Whatever you're afraid of, you might not be ready to face it right now. You might not be ready to face it right now. Just know. Somebody out there is ready to meet you and face that dragon with you. There's somebody who wants to. I'm thinking of video games where people like raid. Like you got to get a bunch of people together to do like a raid. You might have to go. You might have to go search the seven seas. You might have to go into these weird places in life where you're like, how did I end up here? And then you come back and you're like, how did I end up back here? And you show up at that same place. I'm showing up at my studio. This is like, man, look at this. This is like the third time I've rebuilt this studio. I rebuilt it. I built it during the pandemic. Then I left. And then I tried to rebuild it in a place in Westchester, and it flooded. And then I had to tear it down. Then I tried to rebuild it again. Then I didn't use it. Then a friend said, let's build it. And then it didn't pan out. Then I had to rebuild it. This is the fourth time, and it won't be the last. This isn't even ergonomically perfect yet. I don't even know how I'm going to be hurt yet by the limitations that I haven't even explored. That's a bar right there. You don't even know how you're going to be hurt by the limitations you haven't even explored yet. What boundaries have you not yet tested? Well, May, how's it going? May is on stream. Let's talk with the chat. Just the chat, just a little bit. Yeah, May, how you doing on today? How are things going? I don't know if he's. We're in the last 10 minutes. I really need to go pee as well. Hello, Jessica. Jessica and May are on the stream. So today we went over Letters to a Young Poet. And also the show is finally being uploaded on all the different podcast streaming platforms, YouTube and Spotify. I'm gonna put it on Apple as well. And then my Substack is gonna host some little stuff. I'm figuring out different ways to use all the materials being gathered. But what we learned today, my streaming life is going great. Right now it's podcasting life, and there's a lot of things I'm layering on top of that. So this is day 4, and I'm doing it every day, which is an hour podcast show. We're gonna do it 5 days a week and post it. And we're learning stuff. Today we learned that you should have to like your life before teaching anyone at all, because I had this thought, maybe I should give up and become a teacher. But what if the way to like your life is to start teaching what you do know by learning with others what you don't know together, and facing what you're afraid of by going back through what stopped you from trying in the first place? Because you don't even know how you're going to be hurt by the limitations you haven't even explored yet. And I didn't even say that. Maya Angelou said that. No. We explored a quote from Maya Angelou that got misattributed to her. Let's get into prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for this moment to glorify you, to give up on what is not your will, to give up on the directions that you don't need us to go in, that we have unlimited opportunities by your grace and mercy to come back through doors that we thought were previously closed, places that scared us because we didn't think we had what it took to get through it. But now, coming back with wisdom, with strength, with a new understanding of surrender, with a new sensitivity, with a new understanding of our limitations, we can go back through. And we don't have to go back through alone. So I pray anybody feeling alone, that they know that you're there with them, that they understand the difference between solitude and aloneness, that they understand that loneliness is only there when one feels like there's nothing for them in the place that they are, but that everybody knows that there's something for them, that wherever they are, that is where they are needed, that they're the most important person for themselves when no one else is there, that they can look to themselves to look to you, that they can look deep within and within their heart in the deepest wounds that you were there with them. I pray that everybody knows this, that everybody feels your presence. And pray for May. As always, I pray for Jessica. I pray for anybody on watching this right now in the future. I just pray that they know that they're not alone, right? That they are convicted to check out that thing that they thought was holding them back, that sin, that mistake, that thing where they felt like their life went topsy-turvy. That they're able to walk back through those doors and see a new thing. See beauty where it wasn't before. Go close to nature. Go to those places. Go to places like Paris, where things are beautiful. Rather than doing my normal outro, which is the song I Feel Famous, I feel led to share with you a poem that I wrote many years ago. It was the first poem that I wrote for the stage. And also, I really need to go pee. And so I don't want to play piano while I need to go pee. And that is something that I will need to learn how to figure out how to not need to go pee all the time. While on stream, that's funny. I need to go pee on stream. That's funny. New York City is a panic attack. It is up late, run down, yet elusive. It never ceases to amaze me, and when it does, I'm left breathless. Especially when the rat-a-tat-tat of a tap dancer collides with drumsticks singing in the rain, or when an old black chess master takes the spirit of a young boy in Washington Square Park. It is the breath of fresh air after the finishing blow it dealt earlier, and when that bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich that you got at the deli across the street hits the back of your throat and clogs your arteries slick with cream soda-soaked chips. It is a heaven only you can experience alone. It is New York. But you want to know my favorite thing? You want to know my favorite thing about New York, New York, New York, New York, big apple in your mouth and face. Don't talk bad about my city if you ain't trying to live it, city. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, city. I hate it there. That's right. I absolutely hated it. I spent 3 months in that hellhole, 3 months wandering its sunken, sullied, piss-soaked, crap-stained, Dominican loud music playing construction at 7 in the morning, spelled M-O-U-R-N-I-N-G, because the death of my sanity lies on West 68th Street, stinking streets. It was hell. Heat-soaked, heat-stroke, lethal, lonely hell. I had to put a wet towel over my naked body to sleep because our AC was free and that it didn't exist, and I had to close the windows to drown out the construction going on every day at 7 in the morning. But that's New York. What are you gonna do? Some people just don't get it. They don't get that New York is supposed to be hell. It's a panic attack, for Christ's sake. A panic attack. A panic attack. You're not being attacked. You're being attacked by panic, by white flight, white strife, Black Lives Matter plight, all night singing, protests, singing, we hate the alt-right, voices heard on high, even the penthouse suite reevaluates life. Panic. By banging, clanging, ambulances blaring, skyscrapers scraping, hipsters vaping, men and women gaping, stating what is going on with this city. Panic. You're being attacked by the city metropolis, if you will, where people go to hate one another because the common weight of human suffering is littered across the street like dead bodies and gum-covered pavement, because New York City is not a home, it is a city. It is a city, not a home. A home is where the heart is, and I left that in San Francisco. So you asked me, if you hate it so much, why do you want to live in New York? Well, to put it plainly, I miss it. I miss the aloneness. I miss silent walks playing Pokemon Go with headphones on, not looking at anyone. I miss crying at a bus stop until I met a toothless man at KFC who told me not to go where the wild things go, past 2nd Street to be exact. I miss being booked on a comedy show where I ordered food but got a beer instead because I thought the waitress said sliders but really said cider, and then I didn't perform because the crowd left. And I cried because I had nothing to look forward to in that moment except that show, and so I bought KFC. Then the man with no teeth looked to me and said, "You want a cookie?" I said, "Yes." He said, "You want some more?" I said, "Yes." He said, "NYU?" I said, "No, UCLA." He said, "Well, don't go past 2nd Street after dark, and never forget the Creator is always with you." And then he disappeared, leaving only his teeth. Came back later to tell me also one more thing: don't let any female get to you. And I did. I miss walking the High Line, listening to nothing but my own thoughts and the fact that crumbling down the line was a family, a relationship, a career, in that order. I miss delis on every corner. I miss using my backpack as a soundboard for my thoughts. sinking into a park bench to catch a nap during my lunch break at work. I miss crying to the best of 2017 Spotify playlist with friends abroad moving in separate directions like tributaries or grids or litter in the wind. I miss that lady who told me in line at Chick-fil-A to stop talking on the phone with my sister because she didn't want to hear my conversation. Screw that lady. Maybe I was too loud. I don't really know. I miss having panic attacks because having panic attack always happens when you're alone until you're not anymore. Whether it's at a bus stop or a street corner or the Grand Canyon, the Creator is always with you. And New York is the only place that keeps reminding you how messed up the world can really be. It's messed up. New York reminds you every day, sometimes life sucks. Sometimes you gotta deal with it. Maybe you don't have teeth, but you can still eat KFC. Maybe one day. Then you can learn to appreciate the view in other places like Paris. I'm there right now writing this poem, and it's beautiful. BEA, beautiful. That's today's show. I'll see you tomorrow. I love you, and I don't need to know you in order to know that you have a purpose. And I invite you to tell the truth and suffer the consequences. Until next time, till next rhyme, panic attack. That's today's show. I'll see you tomorrow. God bless you. See you tomorrow.